dual sport motorcycles are really popular now because you can ride off-road and then you can take them on the street because they're street legal. But there are a lot of things about a dual sport that you need to know about before you buy one. And I'm going to tell you the ugly truth.
Let's go for a ride. Subscribe today.
If you want to get my gear like this ultra lightweight carbon fiber helmet, motovlog camera, airbag vest to help keep you safe, all of my gear, I always include links in the description and comment section of my videos. You know, I owned a dual sport. I owned a Yamaha WR250R. Did a lot of modifications to it. You might want to go check the build I did on that. And that was a really nice bike, man. But then I got a 2019 YZ450FX that I converted into a street legal supermoto, which you can do here in Ohio. That's another great thing about Ohio. You can plate pretty much anything, even a two-stroke. But I'll tell you, this stepped the game up because I actually turned this into a supermoto slash dual sport. This is the best of both worlds. A lot of people don't do this. And I did it as a trial experiment, and it has been awesome. Because I'll tell you, there are some drawbacks to a dual sport motorcycle that you need to know about. You know, dual sport motorcycles generally have a 21-inch front wheel and an 18-inch rear wheel. As where the supermotos, they have the 17-inch wheels that are great for the street. The 21-inch front and the 18-inch rear wheel is great for off-road. But it doesn't do well on the street because you can't really take corners too low. You risk sliding out and low siding. And there's some other things about a dual sport that is really not that great that you need to know about. For those of you guys who want to see the build I did on this YZ450FX, if you go check it out, I'll include a link in the top right corner. I've had this since 2018. And I have not done any valve checks on this or anything. The drawback to taking a dirt bike and making it street legal is that if you ride it a lot, you have to do a lot of maintenance on this bike because you got to change the oil often, like probably at least every 10 hours. As where a street bike, you do it like every 3,000 miles. And then you're supposed to check the valves. But the reason why I got the YZ450FX is because they are known for their valves not moving, and I hate doing maintenance on a bike. I hate doing valve checks. So I have not done a single valve check on this bike since I bought this bike in 2018. And it starts up lightning fast and rides better than it did brand new. But you got to do a lot of oil changes, so I can't go touring on this bike. As where a WR250R, a DRZ 400, KTM 690 SMCR, or the Husqvarna 701 Supermoto or Dual Sports, you can take those across the country because they're, require regular oil changes like regular bikes every 3,000 miles. What's cool about this bike is that I can take this bike anywhere, pretty much, man. See that? I can take it off-road because I got the Shinko 705 ADV tires on here. Woo! It is muddy back here. And so I can go anywhere. That's why I say this is a dual sport, because I put the Shinko 705 ADV tires and they last a long time. I have not changed these tires, guys, since I bought this bike. As where a dual sport, those knobbies wear out fast. The 21-inch and 18-inch wheels on a dual sport, you can't make those wheels tubeless, really, for the street. You have to have inner tubes. So, if you get a puncture out here on the streets, you can't just fix it like you can my bike, which is tubeless, my wheels that I made tubeless on these 17-inch rims. I can just get a patch and patch it up in less than 5 minutes. As where the inner tubes, I mean, you got to take the tire off. You're not going to be doing that on the side of the road. So you're probably going to have to call for a tow. That is the biggest drawback to a dual sport. And I tell you, I've experienced that, but I got a puncture in my tire when I was out in Colorado, out in the city. And I'll tell you guys that Luckily, it didn't hit the inner tube. Otherwise, I would have been stranded. It was at that point, then I was like, you know what, man? We got to think about getting something else. And so that's why, and I wanted to step up to the 450, and that's why I was like, let's go ahead and get the 17-inch wheels, put ADV tires that have the grip that allows you to go off-road, but yet I can make them tubeless, and I can patch the tire up if I ever get a puncture. And also, you know, a lot of the dual sports, which a lot of you guys think adventure motorcycles are dual sports, which they are not. Most people tour on the ADV bikes, or they cruise around out here on the streets or something. You're not going to be taking the ADV bike off-road and messing around too much, because if you drop the bike, try picking up a 600-pound bike off-road a couple of times, you'll be tired as hell for the day. You're done. You're not going to want to mess around off-road with an ADV bike. So get that out of your mind, thinking the ADV bikes are dual sports. Forget about it. Now I know they have lighter weight dual sports, ADV dual sports, like the Yamaha, was it T700 or whatever? It's out now, and it's a lot lighter weight, but it's still not a lightweight bike. That's like the KTM 690 dual sport and the Husqvarna 701. Even though the KTM 690 and Husqvarna 701 have lower maintenance and they're powerful dual sports, and you can mess around off-road with them, but they are a bit hefty too, man, at 350, 360 pounds. As where my bike is sitting at 265 pounds, which is much easier to wrangle around and mess around in the woods with. Also, you know, with dual sports is that a lot of the box store dual sports where you can buy their street legal, ready to roll, most of them are pretty slow. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't sell the WR250R anymore, but they have the XR250 or whatever that is. And then you've got the Suzuki DRZ 400. You've got which you can mod them and make them faster. Then you got the KLX 300 dual sport. You got the faster KTM 690 dual sport and the Husqvarna 701. But like I said, they're a lot heavier than, say, the DRZ 400 or the XR 250L, whatever that's called, or the CRF 250L for the Honda, which I think sitting at about 300 pounds or something like that. But they're generally slow, and you have to mod them, and even when you mod them, they're not really that fast. They're not going to be like this bike here, man. This is a pure race 450 bike here, you know what I'm saying? So that's why, for those of you guys that want to, you know, a supermoto life and the dual sport life, honestly, this is your best bet right here. This is probably the best dirt bike to convert to a supermoto slash dual sport, is this YZ 450FX. And there's a guy on YouTube that he created here in Ohio. He created a street legal YZ 450FX in a dual sport form, and he loves it. He put like 400 hours on there, and he said he hardly just does oil changes on there like I do, man. I'm telling you, these things are like bulletproof. And I tell you, with the Shinko 705 tires, these tires are almost like bulletproof, man. I've ridden over glass, I've beat on them off-road and over logs, everything, and I have not had any problems with them at all.
However, the 17-inch Supermoto wheels suck going over logs. As you see here, I hit a hidden log that I wasn't expecting and had a real effed up day and ended up with a broken collarbone. So I've learned when you take a Supermoto off-road, you have to actually stay seated. You can't stand up like a dual sport, and you have to guide the bike over obstacles.
And yet you can roll on the go around twisties without worry. You don't have to worry about low siding like the dual sport motorcycles. You know, so honestly, dual sport motorcycles are a bit overrated. Now I know some of you guys are saying Cycle Cruiser, you can put the tubeless tires on the dual sports, but they are not rated for street use, okay? They're only rated for off-road use. You don't want to use those because you can end up having problems with the tubeless if you're going too fast out here on the streets with those tires. So that could be dangerous. So don't do it, man. So that's why I said you can't. There's no tubeless option for a 21-inch front wheel and 18-inch dual sport wheel, at least that I know of. Maybe if there is, leave a comment below and let me know. But you know, the tubeless tires, those are made for off-road, for dirt bikes or whatnot. But that's the biggest issue, like I said, with the dual sport. I spend most of my time out here on the street, 90%, I'd say probably 99% street. I don't even go off-road that as much as I used to. So it didn't make sense for me to continue with the dual sport where the knobbies wear down so fast. And you got to replace those tires so often and deal with inner tubes and all that, and a risk of puncture and the low side if you get cued around the corners or something. So honestly, for most people out there, for those of you who want to get into dual sport, this is the best setup for you. Or even if you get a Kawasaki KLX 300 or DRZ 400 or whatnot, even on those supermoto wheels, you may want to go with the adventure tires like the Shinko 705 tires on there, so that you can go off-road better. Because if you try to mess around off-road with street tires, it's you know, they're not puncture resistant. They're not made to take a beating off-road, and they have poor traction. You probably end up getting stuck in the mud or something out there. So I don't recommend messing around off-road with regular supermoto tires, regular street tires. If you're gonna do it, get the ADV tires on your bike, man. Between the MT-07 and this bike, I'm selecting this bike all day, every day, baby. But I love my MT-07, but it's nice to change up every now and then. But man, I love this bike, guys, because I can go anywhere. It's like the Jeep of the streets, man. But yet a lot faster than a lot of the other dual sports out there. But anyways, guys, leave a comment below. Make sure to hit thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my All-in-One Motorcycle channel. Hit that little bell symbol so you get notified when my new videos comes out. But I release new videos every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Till next time,